Valorant team just came out with a new dev diary, the first new actual dev diary in almost a year. There were a lot of things said in the video that I want to go over because it was, in my opinion, a very carefully crafted and well-made video. It was the most open and honest Riot Games has been in a while with their community, because let's be honest, it's felt like they've been pulling away from the fan base that they were initially very active with. Part of that could be due to the fact that they were focusing a lot of attention towards developing their esports to the level that it is now. Now that Valorant esports is in somewhat of a stable place at the moment, with Masters Shanghai either currently going on or over by the time this video goes out, Riot Games can focus their attention on making the game playable for everyone else. Hopefully this new dev diary video serves as the first step into Riot balancing their attention on the pro scene and the ranked and casual players. There were a lot of promises made that could potentially shake up the Valorant meta, starting with the map pool.
We've heard a lot of feedback from y'all about map rotations lately, and we've been talking as a team about how we can make this experience better overall. Rest assured that your feedback has been heard loud and clear.
It's no secret that this Axe map pool has been atrocious compared to previous Axe. Bind, Ascent, Icebox, Lotus, Split, Sunset, and Breeze are the 7 maps currently in rotation. Bind, Ascent, and Split are the only 3 maps that I actually enjoy out of this rotation. Call me basic, but I like Ascent. It's my favorite map. And I know that liking Split is a semi-controversial take, but I like the smaller maps because I'm awful at long-range gunfights. The exact reason why I don't like Breeze. That map is way too big. I don't understand why Riot decided to add Breeze back to the map rotation. I think it's one of, if not the least liked map in the pool within the Valorant community. Second only maybe to Icebox, which is also in this current map rotation. I personally don't have a problem with Icebox. I think that map is fine, but it wouldn't be in my ideal map rotation. Ascent, Split, Bind, Haven, Fracture, Sunset, and Lotus are the 7 maps that are part of my ideal map rotation. At least some of my wishes have been answered, with Haven's confirmed return, but with every positive comes a negative.
As a starting point, we're going to be more transparent around map rotations going forward, so you all know when they're happening ahead of time.
In the spirit of this, we want to confirm that the map pool will be rotating with patch 8.11 in early June. Breeze and Split will be rotating out, and Haven will be rotating back in.
Breeze is leaving, which is amazing, but Split is also leaving, which again, I enjoy this map, but I also understand that this opinion is part of the minority. 2 maps leaving and only 1 confirmed map being added does confirm there's going to be a new map added to the pool. I'm excited to see what Riot's been cooking up. Ever since Ascent, the new maps Riot has released have been trending in a negative direction. Icebox, Breeze, and Pearl have either had abusable areas or were just bad maps. Fracture, Lotus, and Sunset are the better of the new maps, but even they had their flaws, especially Fracture. Although I wish they could bring that map back, I do understand that Valorant were cooking a bit too much with this map. I really like the way they explain balance changes.
Now, let's dive into our main topic for today, role diversity. For context, the live game team's top priority for 2024 has been to increase intra-role diversity across the roster. Basically, looking at each role and ensuring more agents are viable in each one.
And promoting role diversity sometimes means toning down the power of an agent whose dominance prevents other agents in that role, or even other roles entirely from getting picked. That was the reasoning behind our changes to Skye and Viper earlier this year.
Valorant's main priority is to be a tactical shooter first, and then focus on abilities second. If agents were buffed to match the strongest agent in the role, then Valorant would just become Overwatch 3. The best thing to do is to nerf agents to the point where any agent is viable. Of course certain agents are going to be better on certain maps. I'd rather have a Viper than an Astra on Icebox, and I think that Cypher is essential on Sunset. But 1 or 2 agents shouldn't dominate in their role. It's the reason why Viper keeps getting nerfed. She was good on a lot of maps, mainly due to her massive stall power. So much so that other agents just wouldn't get picked in the controller role. But this most recent patch helped increase the amount of attention needed in the placement of her util and decreased her stall power. I would love for Valorant to be in a state where every agent has at least 1 map where they excel on, and that starts with a Duelist class. Right now, especially in pro play, there are 2 agents that are clearly above the rest when it comes to fulfilling their role. Raze and Jett. I personally don't even think Jett's that good of a duelist anymore, at least compared to her peak, and I think that the Riot devs said it best.
Second, as you all keep playing the game, your aim, creativity, and teamwork keep getting better, so you have to constantly reevaluate the game. For example, Jett from the open beta would be an absolute terror if she was unleashed on Valorant in 2024. And back then, she was widely considered underpowered. So you have to ensure we're maintaining that balance while also keeping up with the community.
I think that Jett's in the most balanced position right now, and that the main reason she continues to have such a high pick rate in pro play is that pros have mastered her back when it was a mistake not to, and now she's just become a comfort pick. Raze, however, is a must-pick duelist on many maps. There's a reason why Raze has one of the highest pick rates in VCT, third only to Viper and Omen, definitely the highest pick rate in the duelist class. And for every map that Raze isn't used, Jett is. Raze has info in the form of her boombot, amazing movement and space making in the form of her satchels, and her paint shells and ult are some of the best stall util and plant denial in the game. The devs stated that they're going to focus on Raze's satchels.
In early June, with patch 8.11, we're shifting our focus to the duelist role. Over time, we've seen pick diversity decline among duelists, especially in higher skill and pro play brackets.
So, we'll be shipping some nerfs to Raze, focused on her satchel mobility, as she's been an overly dominant pick in this space.
Some potential nerfs that I could see happening could be that her satchels don't do damage to enemies, or don't even move enemies in general, which will decrease their versatility. Maybe her satchels won't be able to break util anymore, which would force players to commit their nade or their bodies in order to break the more out of place util. If they nerf the distance Raze can move herself with her satchel though, that would be one of the most meta altering nerfs this game has seen in a while. Even though I'm really bad at it, satcheling all over the map with Raze is really fun and increases her skill ceiling. She's such a dynamic character that would be heavily impacted by a bad nerf. Moving on to the rest of the class, duelists like Yoru and Neon are starting to find their place in the meta, especially in EMEA. But most other duelists are barely, or in the case of ISO, never seen the professional stage. The entire duelist class just needs a rework so that agents like Raze and Jet are picked less and that other agents are picked more.
For ISO and Neon, we're leaning into strengthening what makes them unique. Namely, we'll be adjusting ISO's shield paradigm and Neon's slide, as well as some small other tweaks. And for Reyna, we know she's quite strong in ranked, but she actually struggles in more coordinated team play. So her changes aim to improve her viability in those team environments like Premier and Pro, while also reducing some of her current rank strength.
The ISO and Neon buffs look exciting, although I don't think that ISO's pick rate will increase dramatically after this buff, unless they do something crazy with him. Reyna though is the one I'm most interested in. I'm curious to see how Riot's gonna make her more viable in pro play while maintaining her decreased strength in ranked. I really have no idea how Riot's gonna make this work, which is why they don't pay me a dime. The only thing I can maybe see them doing is decreasing the number of heals and dismisses she has, increasing her leader strength or duration, or even adding a new ability. Yeah, so I was in the middle of editing that video when the patch notes for the new patch 8.11 came out. It's a new early look, but I still want to talk about it a little bit, keep up to date and just show you how long it really takes for me to find the motivation to make these videos. First off, we got Raze's satchel, which no longer explode or do damage knockback upon opponent destruction. Her horizontal velocity while satcheling has been slowed. I don't know, like a number, percentage. It's gonna be interesting to see that in game. They can see if it's like severely nerfed. Maybe her entry power is gonna be stopped. I don't know. It doesn't really give specifics. And her satchel explosion audio has been updated to be audible further away to ensure enemies can hear the first satchel when a Raze double satchels. All these updates don't really nerf her too heavy. Her entry power is a little diminished, a little nerfed. I hope that in the future, like the official big update, we're gonna see some more nerfs to her ults, maybe up to cost 9, or her boom bot or her nade or something like that, or maybe some more satchel updates. We'll see, because I'm hoping that this isn't everything they're changing about Raze. The big one is Reyna. We're gonna start with her Devour. Her healing decreased from 100 to 50, and her full heal time reduced from 3 seconds to 2 seconds, but her overheal of armor no longer decays after a timer, which is cool, right? Because you're getting less shield, but the shield stays the entire round. I think it kind of balances it out a little bit, and it really just incentivizes her to stay playing with the team instead of forcing her to take a fight while she still has shield, which is cool. It's just kind of like a good overall helping the team type update with Reyna so far. Her dismiss, her speed increased, so from 9.1 meters a second to 12 meters a second, but the duration decreased from 2 seconds to 1.5 seconds, which just means she's faster when she dismisses, but she dismisses for a little bit less time. It's just kind of like a slight little nerf to her. And then with her ult, no longer has a timer, which again, it's good for the team play, so she can just pop her ult and scare for the entire round. I really think this is gonna make it so that Reyna is more viable in comp as a stomping agent. People are just gonna pop her ult, especially Smurfs. Smurfs are just gonna pop her ult, faster fire rate, faster reload. I think this actually helps the Smurfs. So I don't know what they were kind of doing with this one. It does help her in the sense of she's a team player now, and she can be with the team more instead of having that timer over her head the entire time. Just thinking oh, I need to use this before my Empress runs out, or I need to get a kill before my Empress runs out. I'm going to Neon. Her fast lane is getting changed. Her ability dissipates from behind to minimize visual noise, big combat space while giving cover to Neon. Audio updated to travel with fade out of the wall. This basically is just saying that her wall going down all at the same time, it's going to go down from back to front. And then the duration of the wall is going to be from 6 seconds to 4 seconds. It's going to be up for a shorter period of time, but it's going to dissolve at a slower rate, changing from 1 second to 2 seconds. Relay bolt, her Q, it's going from 2 to 1 charges, so she's going to have less of them, and her wind-up delay is going to go down as well, but her concuss duration is going to go up. So it's basically just doing kind of what they did with the Viper Molly, where you're going to get less stuns, but you're going to get them for a longer duration of time. This part of her update Neon no longer has her strafe speed reduced while sprinting, and her max speed while moving sideways is now 6.3 meters per second, is going from that increased to 9.11 meters per second, and her time until fully regenerating her sprint is going from 60 seconds to 20 seconds, which basically means she's gonna be able to sprint across the map whenever she wants. I really think that this is gonna be a big change to not just ranked. I'm just gonna see a bunch of people spinning around and doing tricks and flips on me while I'm in my ranked games and just absolutely dominating me with a shorty of the stinger. Other than that, just pushing that aside, in pro play, you basically have, if you're playing Neon, a 6-person defense. Neon can sprint across the map as long as she wants. I really think that if you're gonna decrease the time until her fuel regen, you're gonna have to decrease the time that she can sprint instead of just making it so like, yeah, you can sprint wherever you want. It's such a big buff to me. And if you're a Neon main, I think you should be excited for this one. This is insane, in my opinion. So moving into more of her slide charges, she's getting more slides. So she's getting one from 1 to 2, which again is gonna not help the Bucky Stinger meta on Neon. Neon now removes all weapon movement error when sliding, so she's more accurate when sliding. Again, we're going back into a Stinger Bucky meta with Neon. I swear to God, this is gonna be insane, especially with the Smurfs, just like sliding around in low elo, absolutely dumpstering on everyone. Her second slide now costs 150, and her equips out of slide, her slide equip buffer after sliding is a 0.2 second buffer before a gun comes out. They were really serious when they said they're buffing Neon. They are giving her an extreme buff, and I'm kind of scared for her in ranked. After this new patch, it's gonna be a little scary. Now ISO now grants himself a shield upon finishing a 1-second animation, during which he can't use his gun. This plays a shield forming sound at the end of the channel when the shield is activated. I hope this means that we won't have to play aim labs whenever we play ISO. This entire age is just a mini game, and it's kind of annoying to have to do that whenever you're playing ISO instead of just getting a kill. Get your shield. He's going from 2 to 1, but he gets a kill reset instead. It's just kind of like raise a grenade. Instead of having 2 like she did in beta, which was a little broken, he's getting 1 double tap, and to get it back he has to get 2 kills, balancing out for the fact that he doesn't have to play a minigame anymore. He doesn't play aim labs. ISO now receives a wall penetration tag instead of a standard heavy penetration tag when the shield is broken, which means slow less upon his shield breaking. Additionally, ISO now gets a damage indicator towards the direction that the enemy broke his shield. I didn't realize that he didn't get one before, but that's kind of, a little quality of life type thing. And ISO can now recast double tap when it's active to refresh the duration of the shield. This is relevant when he gets a refreshed charge of his double tap from getting 2 kills. It's kind of weird to me not seeing a change in his wall, rotating it 90 degrees, making it a little wider instead of taller. And again, like I said, it looks like this is going to be an early look. I'm hoping this is just a sneak peek and that there are more changes to the Duelist role coming out. And also, something that wasn't their Instagram post, Clove got nerfed a little bit. I really don't care about them. There are a lot of other agents that are better than them, but they are a fun pick. Anyway, back to the video. The only other role that might need a tweak is the Sentinel role. Killjoy and Cypher are objectively the 2 best Sentinels in the game, with Sage being an honorable mention. Chamber got nerfed to the ground almost immediately after release because they made a mistake when stating its class. Riot meant to release a new Duelist rather than a new Sentinel and have been fixing that mistake ever since. I think Deadlock is unironically the worst agent in the game. Her sound sensors are useless when holding flank, a big part of her role. Her grav net is useless unless paired with other util, and then even a fade tether does it better. Even though they recently buffed her wall, it's still bad, and her ult is just alright, mainly excelling in a 1v1 as long as you hit it. I know that earlier I stated that it's better to nerf agents than to buff them, but I think in the Sentinels category, especially in the case of Deadlock, the opposite is true. I think her gravity net is fine, but that's about it. Her ult could have a larger radius or a longer distance. Her sensors should either detonate when in a certain radius or stun longer, but I have no idea what Riot should do with their wall. That will always be a mystery to me. I've noticed recently that Riot hasn't been updating their games in terms of the chapters or acts, but more in terms of the VCT schedule, which is fine, but it was a little bit of a shock initially. The biggest thing for me though is I wonder why Riot decided to release a meta-altering patch right before an international tournament. Teams need time to practice with a new patch, and I'd rather watch the same game between a regional and international tournament. Having a new big patch after champs and a little before the start of the season makes a little more sense to me. It keeps the matches consistent and gives the players enough time to practice with a new patch. But I also understand the idea that people don't want to watch the same game over and over again with the same strats over and over again. Patches like the Viper one shakes up the meta a bit and forces teams to work around it so that the game stays fresh. Luckily, this change wasn't that impactful. Teams are still going to have to work with the new Viper nerfs, but it could have been worse. Having patches released with a VCT schedule and not with the beginning of a new chapter or act is fine, as long as we get new content that does not severely break the game. I don't really care too much about the skins, they've all been good, especially recently, even the Battle Pass ones. They essentially just promised more pink skins. The part that I found funny was that one of the cosmetic managers can't tell the difference between pink and purple.
We've also been making efforts to understand what you mean when you say you want pink skins, because pink skin means something different to every one of you. Some mean cute or whimsical, some mean elegant and high-end, some mean feminine, and no one can agree on which shade of pink is the right shade. Sometimes even you, Preeti, get the distinction wrong between pink and purple.
Yeah, I don't know what color Reaver is. Is it pink or purple?
Once upon a time, it was both.
Finally, the moment that everyone has been waiting for. Riot finally acknowledged months of the community's pleas for a replay system. I find it funny that the studio lead said the community chatter has been recent.
There was something else we wanted to talk about, and I cannot remember what it was. Oh, replays. Yeah, it seems there's been some increased chat in the community about replays lately.
Everyone in the Valorant staff must have been locked in the building or something, because this has been going on for at least 7 months. For the longest time, anytime Valorant posted something on YouTube, the top comment would always say something about the replay system. It was a funny meme within the community to find the most creative way to ask Riot for a replay system. Sadly, this meme has now come to an end. Now people are talking about how they won't see those comments anymore. The replay system is far from perfect, as they addressed in the video.
There are a plethora of issues with maps, abilities, weapons, as well as visual and audio effects that we need to work through to make them replay ready. Otherwise, defects show up when viewing moments out of a game and in a replay. Some of these defects are pretty funny. For example, here's a side-by-side clip that shows me interacting with a door switch in a custom game, beside that same interaction when viewed in a replay. Not sure that door in the replay is very good at being a door.
There are still bugs and little quirks they have to figure out, but if Epic Games can do it, then I have every confidence that Riot Games can too. At least they publicly acknowledge the community instead of just leaving them in the dark. I have no idea how to program, and I hate learning CS, but before the Dev Diaries video, I saw people talking about making a replay system, and some people even making themselves using the same engine that Riot Games uses to make Valorant, although it was more rudimentary. It seems like the Valorant devs didn't initially plan to introduce a replay system into their game, so they didn't future-proof their code. I'm not going to dig too deep into the truth of their statements, or on whether or not there's something else going on behind the scenes that I'm missing. That's what other YouTubers are here for. I just hope that this system comes sometime soon because it would really push the limits of Valorant content production. Valorant content has reached its ceiling. Either you're really good at the game, do smurfing content, or do custom game content. This has caused Valorant content to become a little stale. Doing the same thing over and over again can be fun at first, but burnout can come easy, just like it did with Eggwick. All in all, I think this is one of the best videos that Valorant has released in a while. It was open and honest, and it was the first time in a while that it felt like Riot Games was actively listening to its community. I hope this isn't just a one-time thing and that Riot Games continues to be transparent with their community. I can't wait for the future of this game and I'm excited to see what it has to offer. I'll be watching VCT and I'll be rooting for PaperX to win their first international title. I hope I can get this video out before then, but if not, I guess I'll be waiting for Sentinels to play better in Stage 2.
I know I want you.